Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Dr. Tom LaHue, and we're going to be talking about Enneagram Type 3s today. And we're going to be looking at the defensive strategy or the defensive mechanisms that Type 3s appropriate or use. It's called identification. And before we jump into this video, just a reminder, in the description below is a link to my website, tomlahue.com. I do Enneagram coaching, and you might say, what is that? Well, you know, it's a lot like life coaching, but it uses the Enneagram as its basis or sort of as the guide. So, you know, there's a lot of times in life where life can get difficult or challenging, and you may not, you may lose your passion for your job or your career, or feel like you're stuck in life. Certainly in relationships, those can be challenging at times. And sometimes you end up arguing and fighting or sitting in silence and not connecting with the person that you love the most. And the Enneagram is just a great tool to help us know more about ourselves and maybe, how to get along with other people in our lives. And so that's what I do. That's the work I do. A lot of different classes available on my website as well. And a lot of opportunities for us to connect and work together. So check out my website, tomlahue.com. Let's jump into our study today on the defense strategy of Type 3. Now, this comes from a whole series I'm doing right now on the defense strategies of every Enneagram type. And I would encourage you, when you go to my website, just click on the store tab up at the top of the website, and you can find my new ebook called The Hidden Battle. And this will outline every one of these Enneagram types' defense strategy. So if you want to know more about this, you're interested in this, check out my new ebook on my website. Download it, it's free. And then you can have this resource for yourself or all the people that you love, trying to understand them as well. All right, so let's jump into Type 3s. And, the 3s are often called the achievers or the performers, often you could say, characterized by their drive for success or accomplishment or achieving. And sometimes, there's a couple of negative sides that sometimes get emphasized, like the willingness to adapt yourself to the point that you might lose yourself. The willingness to adapt yourself in order to accomplish a goal, or in order to be seen as a successful person in the eyes of your audience, or to be admired by the audience, could cause you to lose sight of your own core or your center, and sometimes the desire to feel valuable or worthwhile could substitute your desire to be true or authentic to yourself. In fact, if we say true or authentic to yourself, you might even kind of wonder, like, what does that mean? Some 3s can really struggle with this. So what's the defense strategy of this successful, achieving, accomplished person? It's called identification. Now, I'm going to look here at my notes from the book, The Hidden Battle. Like I said, it's free on the website. Just go to the store and download it for free. It's just a PDF. But identification for Type 3s involves adapting their image and roles to meet the expectations and the values of the environment or the society to achieve success and recognition. So this identifying so strongly with the audience or society around you, the groups that you interact with, identifying so strongly with their values and what they admire and achieve, that you might neglect your inner self or your true self or what you really want in order to adapt to be the best version of what the audience, expects from you. Now, this can be good in some ways. I mean, this ability or this tendency can cause you to really stand out and to get a lot done and to be an amazing specimen of a person, the best, you might say, of us. But the negative side might be you get to the end of this wondering, what is all this for? Like, what did I do all this for? What did I really accomplish? And, if I just press in a little bit and say, all of this that you're doing in life, whether it's your job, your career, or whatever it is, is it fulfilling you? How fulfilled are you? Like, holistically, how fulfilled are you in life? You may be killing it at work and accomplishing a lot and have a great resume, and everybody may look at you and think you're so put together and you're so accomplished. But when you actually pause for a minute and really sort of tap into your emotional self, or tap into your core, your center, are you really proud of you? Are you really excited about you and your life and where you found yourself? And are you living, your passion in life? Or are you simply going through the motions in order to push yourself to be the best version in the eyes of everybody else? Identifying so strongly with what they value and with what they respect that you may lose sight of even really contemplating what it is you really want in life. You're working really hard, but are you fulfilled and satisfied with where you're at in life? You may laugh at that and say, I don't want to be satisfied. I want to continue being driven. And in that way, you have a lot of wisdom and challenge to share with the rest of us who may not be so driven. But you could say, driven by whom? And driven toward what? And when will you get there? And what will you do when you finally arrive? Will you really celebrate your success? Will you really celebrate this moment? Or will you just find yourself being driven again to more and more without ever really feeling like you've accomplished what you set out to accomplish? Threes maintain a self-image of being successful and admired, often at the cost of their own authentic self. And notice, you can't say those words without thinking about your forewing right next to you. Think of your forewing pulling you down into your authentic self to know yourself, and then your two wing pulling you up to get your eyes off of yourself and put your eyes on others and how you could benefit them, how you could encourage them, how you could be of service to them. Both of those wings are really important for you as a three. So now I've got some notes here on how identification shows up for threes, and I think I have 5 or 6 points. One is shifting self-image. Threes can change their behavior and appearance, even their appearance, and even their values. What they would say are their core principles they live by, or their core values, to align with what they believe will be most admired and rewarded in a given context. So in a sense, you might look a little bit like ones sometimes, or maybe even sixes, talking about your values and what's important to you and what is non-negotiable. But notice if what you're saying often aligns with the groups that you belong to. Are you okay with saying those values when those are rejected, when those are, not appreciated or admired by your audience? Standing up to criticism. And think ones would be a whole lot, I think, more likely to be able to do this kind of thing, especially eights, saying, this is what I believe, this is what I care about, and I don't care if it's not popular with you or if it's offensive to you. And just notice how you, at times, may find yourself shifting your self-image shifting in order to protect your self-image with your given audience or with multiple different audiences. Number 2 is it may show up for you in being very success-oriented or focused on success. Their focus on achievements can lead them to identify strongly with their successes, basing their self-worth on external validation and accomplishments. So, it's very important for you to get the response back from people that you need. You could say this is admiration or maybe appreciation or validation, but what happens if you don't get this response back? You don't get this sonar message given back to you. Will you still continue on? Will you push harder, or will you become exhausted and discouraged and give up? And just notice how important it is maybe for you to feel like you are successful and how important that is to your self-worth. And you say, well, what's wrong with that? Well, there's maybe nothing completely wrong with it, but just notice a lot of other types are not nearly as likely to attach their self-worth with, or their sense of value with what they have done or what they have accomplished. And it may just be helpful for you to realize that you're kind of doing this, and then is it really getting you what you want in life? Or do you find yourself maybe jumping through hoops to get something from people that you don't really need, or you don't really need as much as you think you do? And are you really doing what you want to do, or are you just doing what is necessary in order to get through those hoops to get that feedback, to receive that feedback? So who's really in charge here? See, that's where all this will lead us, is who's really in charge here. Are you really going after what you want and will make your life fulfilling, or do you find yourself getting on a treadmill performing in order to get feedback from people that honestly probably don't matter to you that much? But the feedback matters. Now, they should matter to you, two-wing, they should matter to you, but just honestly, if you took stock and really thought about it, like, you may not really care as much about the people as you care about the message you receive from the people. Interesting stuff. Okay, next is avoiding failure. Threes might avoid situations. They just take themselves out of the game. Like, there's two kinds of games: the ones I win and the ones I forfeit and get out of because I can't win. They may avoid situations where they risk failure, or not being the best, or not being able to be the best, or not being perceived as the best, because these scenarios might threaten your sense of value or your sense of self-image. And so, does it make you uncomfortable, for example, to be around somebody who does something that you do, but they do it better than you? Like, I like to play guitar, and I love being around people who can play guitar better than me. There's this little twinge of like, but I always feel like, well, if I worked harder, I could be that good. But I enjoy listening to somebody who can do what I do and do it really well, who has a gift, who is exceptional. And I don't always see that. In fact, I don't often see that as a reflection on my worth and value just because they do something so well. Are you able to do that? Are you able to see somebody do something that you do, but better than you, without it being a reflection, without perceiving it as a reflection on your value or your worth? Can you just lose yourself in, applause to someone else, or appreciation or admiration of someone else, without it, having this twinge of envy about it for you? So avoiding failure. Next is workaholism. Losing yourself in your tasks, in your job, because those things give you a feedback loop of value or importance. And so you find yourself drawn to those arenas and those environments that give you back that message. Like, maybe, for example, your home, your kids, maybe they don't feed that admiration message that you need as much. And so you may find yourself moving away from those domains, which you're very needed there. That's the whole point of this, is, you're extremely needed in these other domains, these other arenas. But if they don't give you back the feedback loop that you need, you may at times find yourself subjugating your responsibilities to these other areas of life, like family or community or church life, or whatever it may be, because you so desperately need that rush that comes from pushing yourself and accomplishing goals and working with teams and overcoming obstacles and all those things that a typical office work environment could give you. Which is not a bad thing. Again, you have a great message to share with the rest of us. You could encourage the rest of the team, us 7s and 9s and some of these other people, 5s that have a hard time, maybe getting things turned in and done. You've got this great message of awareness to challenge the rest of us to maybe put a little bit more priority on our work and on setting goals and pushing ourselves. It's just, is this driving you to the point of exhaustion and helping or keeping you from being very balanced in life? My goal is for you, my goal for you is to be happy, fulfilled, to live out your purpose in life. I want you to have the best life possible. And I know my assumption is that your best life is one that is balanced. And so yes, work is a part of your life, but it's not maybe the only part of your life, and it may not be the most important part of your life, but it is a part of your life. And notice how you might just gravitate to one side of the of the paradigm, work and finances and personal growth and fitness. But then you've got this whole other side of your life that is very important too, your spiritual life, your health, like your organ health. This is the kind of health where you eat right and not just eat constant protein to be fit, but you actually are, careful with taking care of yourself, your community life, your family life, your marriage life. I mean, how well are you doing on this side? Your hobbies and interests, your recreation. I mean, this whole other side of you is an important part of you. And if you don't give any attention to this other half of life, you could find yourself very unbalanced and no wonder maybe not fulfilled in life. We are more than just, workers. We are more than just athletes. We are human beings and we're here to take up space, and it's okay to take up space. Emotionally disconnected from yourself and from others. That's another way that this might show up, this identification or over-identification defensive strategy. Emotionally disconnect. In the pursuit of success, threes may disconnect from their emotions because they're going to slow you down. A lot of times when threes reach out to me and they want to do this kind of work, they kind of have a misnomer about what this kind of work is. You see, the impulses and compulsions are so strong in type threes that when they learn about the Enneagram, you may be tempted to think, well, how can I use this to accomplish more? How can I use this to even be more successful, more focused, more driven, and to understand people so that I can win with people even to a greater degree? But the Enneagram work is really going to challenge all of this and say, why do you need this so much? Like, what if this wasn't so important to you? If you weren't so focused on living successfully, maybe you could be more fulfilled in life and more balanced in life. And maybe you would be easier to live with and love and to have relationship with. And, this kind of work is going to pull you beneath the surface into these emotional issues. Like, take a second and look through a photo album and look, your kids are growing up, or you're growing up. I don't know what stage in life you are, but let's just assume you're 20-something years old and you got a couple of little kids. The time is running out. Time is moving quickly. And are you fully present into your life and fully present at your home and with your kids? I know you're fully present at work, but can you turn that down to be fully present in the rest of life as well? To just play. Just play. Can you just play? Can you just relax and play and enjoy the people around you? Or do you always turn it into, a contest or something to challenge yourself or something to push yourself forward? And so getting back into your core and getting back into your emotions is a good move. In fact, the book, The Sacred Enneagram, the challenge for threes is to engage internally, internally with yourself, with your emotions, and to allow yourself to feel these things again. And as soon as you do this, you'll see the teacher is inside. As soon as you do this and you start to slow down, you start to really think about what it is you love and care about, then you start to balance your life, and your perspective starts to grow once again, and you start to naturally want to balance things in life so that you're able to show up fully to the rest of life. Okay, your emotions, deep desires, considering them distractions from your goals. Yeah, emotions can be a distraction from your goal, because if I sit and think about this, I'll feel sad, and I don't have time for that right now. I just got to get focused getting this done. Done for who? Done for what reasons? What do you get at the end of getting this done? Well, I get a pat on the back, Again, people will probably start to just take you for granted because they just assume you're always going to show up and always going to get it done. And you may not even get the applause and the approval that you really seek. In fact, you may just get other people's scorn and envy and take you for granted. So there's no guarantees that even if you stay focused on these impulses and compulsions, that it's really going to get you what they promised to give you. In fact, you may just get the scorn of everybody else because, of course, you're going to win. Of course, why should I even enter? Bob's in it again. He's going to win. So why should I even, and that's often what happens to threes is they kind of work under this assumption that they're going to be the best and then everybody's going to approve of them. And sometimes you end up the best and then everybody despises you. And that's not saying that you shouldn't work hard and push yourself. But just notice, part of what healing is for a 3 is to move over to that line of 6 and to join the team and to be a part of the team and then to encourage others, mentoring others and encouraging others and challenging others with all your 3 goodness, to get the rest of us engaged once again, because realize we're not 3s. We're not near as driven towards success and accomplishment and goals as we should be. And we need to hear your voice to challenge us. Okay, so what are the challenges and growth for 3s? For 3s, growth involves reconnecting with their authentic selves. You say, how do I even do that, Tom? Well, that is a challenging thing. I mean, you might need to talk to somebody. You might need to just sit out under a tree and just stop everything you're doing for a little while and just let the sun, sit on your shoulders for a minute and just kind of ask yourself, how satisfied am I in life? I'm working really hard, but do I really feel like, I've ever reached the point where I can rest? What is it I really want in life? I mean, if you could remove all this treadmill of success, what do I really want in life? You may find I want things that aren't on your list right now. I want a happy home with loving family. I want a community of friends around me that get me and that, encourage me and that we're there to support each other. I want to have hobbies and interests that I enjoy. I see other people playing guitars or, riding motorcycles. I just don't have anything like that I just truly enjoy for me. That isn't pushing myself for the next marathon or the next contest in some way. Is there anything that, and you may find that you have this whole beautiful inner self that really has not been encouraged to blossom. It's been shoved down because I got to get so focused on accomplishing the next objective. We'd love to meet that little person in there, that little person that maybe hasn't been heard from in a while. And remember that your value is not solely tied to your achievements or to the image that you have projected out into this world. So authenticity is always going to be a conversation for 3s. And notice your next wing there, 4s, it's all about authenticity. Learning to value and express your true self beyond all of the roles that you play in order to get ahead or to look positive or to look fantastic with people or that you've identified with. See, you're identifying with these roles and these objectives that are put in front of you, but may not really be what you really want in life. Balancing achievement with well-being, with balance, with wholeness, okay? Finding a balance between striving for success and caring for your own emotional, physical well-being. Sounds like it makes a lot of sense. Embracing failure, that's probably a hard one, right? Knowing that failure is normal, everybody's going to experience it. It's not necessarily a commentary on your value or who you are as a person. We're all going to have failures in life. And maybe we could reframe those a little bit, see the positive in them, and see that, this is one of the reasons we need other people in our life, because we can't always get everything right. This helps us to depend on others. It helps us to learn and to grow. And just because I failed does not mean I am a failure. And whatever my failures are, they are not final. It's not the end of my story. It's the end of a chapter, and now we get to write the next chapter. Okay? And again, let's move on. Valuing our inner qualities. Focusing on developing and valuing inner qualities like integrity, empathy, and vulnerability, not just the external achievements. In other words, being fully human. Allowing yourself to be not a robot, pushing yourself to the next accomplishment, but really slowing down, figuring out what your inner convictions are, showing up with love, care, and adoration for people, and being vulnerable with people. Start by maybe sharing some of your failures next time. Everybody thinks that you probably are under the assumption that people want to hear your accomplishments and achievements. My guess is the people around you probably really don't. They would rather hear a time when you blew it, when you failed, when you messed up, when you did the wrong thing, got caught. If you could trust the people around you enough to be vulnerable with them to share that, start there sometime with somebody. It's like a one who says, man, I'm the biggest screw up in the room. Let me tell you how I've blown it over the years. And if you could start your presentation, your next presentation with a time in your life when you thought everything was going to work out right and it didn't, and you just blew it and you felt humiliated, and you say, wow, this is terrible. I don't want to do this. This is what growth looks like for you. I'm telling you, this is what growth looks like for you. It's turning around and facing that dragon of failure and learning to no longer run from that, but to face that dragon, because it's pushing you, It's pushing you forward in life. And you got to sometimes ask, are you really in control, or is the dragon in control behind you? Valuing inner qualities of integrity, empathy, vulnerability, and really just learning to love other people, like slowing down long enough to really know, love, and care about other people. And then emotional honesty, becoming more emotionally honest and open with yourselves to feel and express a wider range of emotions without fear of judgment or criticism or people pointing at you and laughing. By addressing their tendency toward identification with achievement and external validation, threes can discover a more fulfilling and balanced way of living that honors their true self, not just the image that they project or identify with in the world. This journey involves embracing vulnerability, authenticity, and the understanding that true worth comes from within, and I would also say comes from knowing in whose image we are designed and created in, not from your external accolades or your accomplishments. And we're all proud of you. I mean, we can't help but be very proud of all that you've accomplished, but that's not why we love you. We love you because you're our dad. We love you because you're our son. We love you because you're our coworker. We love you because we attend the same church together, because we're brothers, because we're friends. I don't love you because you're amazing and you accomplish a lot, or because you're highly driven or highly focused or highly favored. I don't love you because of that. I mean, that's not what makes me want to connect with you. It may be what makes me impressed with you at the beginning, but I think you'll see that if you can face some of this and learn to lay some of it aside, it's going to make you more genuine and real with people. And if you can trust that, more fulfilled and more content in life. And that's what my hope is for you. So I'll say it like I always say it, is to be present to life, not so identified with the images that you're presenting that your true self, can't be present to life. Reach out to me. I'd love to talk with you and walk you through this process. We can work together. I'll see you next time. Thank you guys, and take care.